testify, to glorify and honor the name of my Heavenly Father, and to highlight the support God grants our beloved Sister Maria Luisa. In prophecy, God spoke to me, promised, and said, I will perform a great miracle and healing in the life of a loved one, and I will also speak to you and guide you through dreams. This is, brothers and sisters, how my blood brother became gravely ill. His health began to deteriorate. He sought medical attention, but there were no answers. The doctors were unable to determine the reason for his illness. A year passed by, and it is how one evening I was in a doctor's office with Sister Maria Luisa, and she was telling me I should go to a hematologist and ask they perform a test to examine the smallest cells a human being has. I went to the specialist, and the test was approved, and also God allowed me to evangelize him. As we received the test results, we learned that my brother has a severe type of cancer and highly advanced. The oncologist shares the most discouraging process to follow, this cancer being one of the most aggressive and incurable to mankind, for it was spread throughout his body. Thus the treatments would be aggressive and rampaging. What Sister Maria Luisa ordered to be done was a bone marrow transplant and a spinal fluid transplant, for all of the treatment had damaged all of this. The oncologist tells me the transplant is very expensive, that we will need a lot of money, even if we find a donor. I replied, Doctor, having evangelized him, there's nothing impossible for God. God provides all. So let's proceed with the transplants. God, as always, when he promises in prophecy through our Sister Maria Luisa that all would be well, thus it was fulfilled. The donors and transplants were made possible. However, as a transplant was to take place, I have another dream with Sister Maria Luisa where she tells me a critical moment in the life of this being will take place. He will be between life and death, but you're going to pray and lay hands, for the Lord will glorify himself, for the Lord will show many who he is and why we must follow him. This, brothers and sisters, is how after the transplant, a deadly bacteria attacked my brother's organism. My brother had fever day and night, very high fevers, diarrhea, and vomit. He would not eat as he was having convulsions. And this, brothers and sisters, is how God fulfilled what he said in the dream through Sister Maria Luisa. He glorified himself through the laying of hands. When all was lost for my brother and the doctors, but never for me, the Lord manifested himself in that moment during the laying of hands. My brother saw an immense finger reaching his stomach, provoking him to vomit. As he vomited a horrible animal, a very ugly worm. At the same time, the Lord showed me how he was there, as if blowing away and cleansing all that the witchcraft and demon had done. This is how the Lord glorified himself and manifested himself. Today, my brother is completely healed. The results of the PET scan performed on all of his body for the honor and glory of the Lord revealed he no longer has cancer. But what is most beautiful, brothers and sisters, is that the Lord brought to his church the oncologist, the hematologist, the head nurse of the floor, janitorial workers of the hospital, and administrators. The honor and glory is always for my Heavenly Father.
Of the Lord. Oh, come and sing. Oh, come and sing. Come sing the praises of the Lord.
Kind greetings to all the brothers and sisters of the Church of God, Ministry of Jesus Christ International. I would like to testify that the Lord in prophecy for approximately 5 years now had been saying to me that it would be Him who would transform and change my mother's heart. that he would be showing her that he is a living God and a God of power who manifests himself in spirit and truth, that he was going to show her that he did not manifest himself through those images and idolatries in which she believed and clung on to due to the customs taught to her by the Catholic Church. And at the beginning of the pandemic, I began to listen to the sermons given by Sister Maria Luisa, and my mother, on the other side of the room, would also listen to them. She listened carefully to what the sister taught with regard to idolatry. On a certain day, she woke up and she began to throw away all of those images. She began to throw away pictures depicting idols, destroying many papers that she had and throwing away the idolatry she had around the house. After some days, she began to carefully listen to Sister Maria Luisa, and she would say, I cannot wait until the church is open so that she can go to the sermons and to be in church congregating with the other brothers and sisters. But what's so beautiful is that when she sits down to watch the sermons, she truly admires Sister Maria Luisa, and her eyes are fixated on the sister, and she's perplexed just looking at her, and says that Sister Maria Luisa is impeccable in the way she dresses and in the way she teaches, and that she believes that this is the way that all the women in the church should dress. She says that for her, Sister Maria Luisa dresses beautifully, and that she would like to dress the same way. She thanks God for all this time he has given us and how he has provided for us during this time. We have not been in need. On the contrary, he has fulfilled all of our heart's desires, not just hers, but mine as well. I testify all of this to give the glory, honor, and praise to my Heavenly Father.
We're singing, but oh, we're joined in praises to the Lord. Oh, come and sing. Oh, come and sing. Come sing.
I want to testify to honor and glorify my Heavenly Father. Through his holy prophecy during a Bible study by Sister Maria Luisa, God promised he would be performing healings. This is how God has fulfilled his promise. I suffered from respiratory problems, which would not allow me to do any high-intensity sporting activity. This would cause my heart to beat faster, and if I exceeded a certain limit, I would start to see everything in a reddish color and caused me fatigue. This is how God gave me a dream where I was in a cave with a person. And I would say, let's go and watch a Bible study. This person would go a different way, and I would go to the Bible study. After these words, a meat-colored fabric began to come out from my mouth, and the next day I went outside to practice a sport and noticed I could do so intensively without any issue, and I could breathe better. This I testified to give the glory and the honor to my Heavenly Father.
John had a vision of those redeemed by Jesus, and all are praising God with one accord.
Prophecy had spoken and said that he'd be taking care of my loved ones. My father, who is of advanced age, suffers from heart problems, obesity, sleep apnea, and of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. In addition to that, just over 2 years now, the doctors had detected a large enough mass within his lung and stated that it would be possible for them to remove part of his lung. But regardless of this, they haven't been able to perform the biopsy necessary due to his heart problem. My father also suffered the Guillain-Barré syndrome, which didn't allow him to do the most basic things like eating by himself or walking on his own. Nevertheless, the Lord has been healing him little by little. And at the beginning of the month of May, my father all of a sudden wasn't able to see nor remembered the things that he could already do, like turning on the TV. And my family members were greatly worried because they thought it might have been a thrombus or a recurrence of the Guillain-Barré syndrome, which would in turn not allow him to breathe anymore. They therefore feared to take him into the hospital, seeing as there were many COVID-19 patients. But regardless of this, they decided to bring him. And I prayed to the Lord so that he could protect my father at the hospital. And after several exams had been performed, the doctors had discovered that there was an obstruction of 80% in one of his artery and was causing his current situation. And in addition to that, they had detected that my father had suffered a stroke. And due to the blockage in his artery, the doctors had scheduled a surgery for the following day, regardless of his pulmonary problems and heart difficulties. And that Sunday, I took advantage to pray during the prayer of our sister Maria Luisa. And she asked the Lord to hear the prayers of those family members that are ill. And I asked the Lord that there not be a need for surgery. And due to some insurance problems, the surgery is postponed, and he was taken to another hospital where there were other COVID-19 patients. But prior to performing the surgery, the doctors had requested another exam, and it was discovered that his artery was blocked of 60%, and for this reason, they canceled the surgery, and he was simply given some medication similar to aspirin. This is how the Lord has protected the life of my father in many ways and in many occasions, and I see the support of the Lord that he gives to the prayer of our sister Maria Luisa, and I testify to give the honor and the glory to the Lord.
Come sing the praises of the Lord. Oh, come and sing. Oh, come and sing. Come sing.
I would like to testify about the promises that the Lord has made to me and the support that he gives to Sister Maria Luisa, where he announced recently that he would be placing monies in our hands and he would bless us abundantly. I work in the tourism industry, and given the situation, my salary has been reduced considerably. In the month of July, I needed to make a payment for my house greater than what I'm making currently in pay, and I pleaded to the Lord to help me. I reminded him of the promises he has made to me and what I've been hearing of the testimonies, where he has provided of many ways what the brothers and sisters need. Today I testify to you that the Lord placed in my bank account the amount of money that I needed to make that payment. The following week, they sent me groceries from my workplace. And in addition, the Lord has provided a bonus to buy myself what I needed in my pantry. All of this I consider great gifts from the Lord, where he gives us the motivation and the comfort each day. Every day he shows us that he's near us and he never abandons us. This I testify to exalt and honor the name of our God.